Hello cubs, and welcome back to my cozy den. We're here once more at the Sleeping Giant Inn in Riverwood, Skyrim for another book reading. But before we continue, I'm pleased to inform you that today's video is sponsored by none other than the Cozy Den. Yes, that's right, it's the Cozy Den. It's me. And a shameless plug to let you all know that the Cozy Den community is now up and running, and you are all more than welcome to come and join the Cozy Chaos over on our Discord server. You can find the link in the description below, and we hope to see some more of you there. But now grab yourself a tankard of mead and pull up a bench by the fire. I hope you enjoy this series, and if you have any suggestions or requests for what to read next, then let me know in the comments below. And now today we are going to be reading Shor, Son of Shor. Kine's shout brought our tribe back to the mountaintop of Hrothgar. And even our recent dead rode in on the wind of her breathing. For there had been no time to fashion a proper retreat. Their corpses fell among us as we landed, and we looked on them in confusion, shaken as we were by this latest battle in the War of Twilight. The chieftains of the other tribes still held their grudge against our own. Shor, son of Shor. More, they had united finally to destroy us, and used skin magic to trick us into disarray. Shor was disgusted with the defeat, and disgusted more when reminded by Junel that our withdrawal had been wise, for we were outnumbered 8-1. Shor took on the form of his totem then, which he used to better shape his displeasure, rather than to shout it aloud and risk more storm death. His shield thanes, the brothers Stoon and Tsoon, bowed their heads, collecting the spears and swords and wine knives Shor threw about the broken pillars of the easternmost sky temple. The rest of us looked away and to our own, not even to acknowledge the thunderclap that signaled our queen's arrival, who stepped in from the tunnel of her own breath last. Kine had taken the head of Magnar, the Jarl that betrayed the weakness of our spear lines and fled the field. Shor shook his scaled mane. "That isn't Magnar," he said. "Magnar, I fear, fell at sunrise and became replaced by mirrors. The other chieftains are using our forms to lead us astray." And then Shor walked away from his war wife to enter the cave that led to the underworld. He needed to take counsel with his father yet again. "Our chieftain loses heart," Dibella said, bedwife of Shor, hefting another body onto the corpse pile some of us were making. "And so goes to speak to one that has none any more. Mirrors indeed, and in that I see no logic." Tsoon took her by the hair, for he was angered by her words and heavy with lust. He was a berserker, despite his high station, and love followed battle to his kind. "You weren't made for that kind of thinking," he said, dragging Debella towards a whaleskin tent. And no one should be speaking to him now. Tasun eyed the clever man who had heard him. Logic is dangerous in these days, in this place. To live in Skyrim is to change your mind 10 times a day, lest it freeze to death. And we can have none of that now. Pine could have stopped all of this, but did nothing but stare at the crowd of Nords around her. Stun and Tasun were shifting, and it was still uncouth to prevent this kind of neighboring. She looked on Juno, and did not know if he should be spoken to or not. Rules were changing. Even her handmaiden was gone, and that lack of attendance was a transgression. But Kine knew Mara was no doubt making treaties with one of the other chieftains, and the pact still allowed for Tiawides to do that. After her husband Shor had forgotten to kiss her, a tradition among the war-married when they returned from the field together, Kine kept her storms to herself, and knew there would be no true understanding until the twilight was lifted. Shor breathed the lamplights of the underworld to life with small whispers of fire. The dark did not frighten him. He had been born in a cave much like this. But nevertheless, it added to the mounting disgust in his spirit. Ever since the moot at the house of We, where the chieftains of the other tribes had accused him of trespass and cattle theft and foul-mouthery, he knew it would come to a war we could not win. Any of those words were enough for the treason mark, and traitors were only met with banishment, disfigurement, or half-death. He had taken the first with pride. Roaring a chieftain's gobletman into dust to underscore his willingness to leave, knowing we would follow. He had taken the second by drawing a circle on the house's adamantine floor with his tail-mouth tusk, which broke with a keening sound, showing the other chieftains that it would all come around again. And he took the third by vomiting his own heart into the circle like a hammerclap, guarding his wraith in the manner of his father and roaring at the other tribes. Again we fight for our petty placements in this house, in the around us. And all it will amount to is a helix of ghosts, like mine now split into the world below, where we fight again. I can already feel the war below us starting. And yet, you have not yet thrown your fist spears even here. We took our leave of the house, and would never reconvene again in this age. The moot looked to the tribe of Old Son of Ald, but he would break no oath of the pact, saying Shor had paid ransom now 3 times for the sins we accused him of, and by that we will hold him as dead and shake not our spears against him or his kin. Of the below he speaks, he is confused by it. For under us is only a prologue, and under that still is only a scribe that hasn't written anything yet. Shor, as always, forgets the above, and condemns himself and any other who would believe him into this cycle. Old's Shield Thane Tridimac shook his head at this, for he was akin to son, and did not care much for logic talk, as much as he did only for his own standing. He told his chieftain that these words had been said before, and Old only sighed and said, "Yes, and as always they will be ignored. As for the war you crave, bold Tridimac, and all of you assembled, do not worry. A spear will be thrown into this soon from Shor's own tribe, and the house of we will be allowed our vengeance." Shor found the alcove at the core of the world and spoke to his dead father. He said a prayer to remove any trickery of mirrors, and the ghost of Shor, father of Shor, appeared, saying Old and the others have paid time and again for the sins we accused them of, and by that you should hold them as dead and shake not the spears of your tribe against any of their kind again. Of the above he speaks, Old is confused by it, for above us is only an ending, and above that still is only a scribe that hasn't written anything yet. Old, as always, forgets the ground below him, and condemns himself and any other who would believe him into this cycle. But Shor shook his head at this, for he was akin to Old, and did not care much for the logic talk as much as he did only for his own standing. He told his father that these words had been said before, and Shor only sighed and said, "Yes, and as always they will be ignored. As for the counsel you crave, bold son, and in spite of all your other fathers here with me, that you create every time you spit out your doom, do not worry. You have again beat the drum of war, and perhaps this time you will win." Shor, son of Shor, returned then to us on the mountain top. He didn't need to explain what he had learned, for we had been there with him. Trinimac left Dibella in his tent as we assembled, and he had not touched her, frozen in the manner of the Nords when we are unsure of our true place, and asked his brother to rearm him. Stone was confused for a moment, thinking this an odd shift. But Mara was returned and had made great headway into treaty with the other tribes, telling him that such totems here in the twilight could now be trusted. Our queen merely nodded to her war husband and shouted us back to the fields of our enemies, towards a weakened spot among their spear lines that Magnar, our scout, would light for us. And the awful fighting began again. Well, there you have it, cubs. Shor, son of Shor. I hope you enjoyed this one. And if you did and would like to make sure you don't miss future installments, then make sure to like and subscribe to stay in touch with us. Until next time, cubs, stay cozy.